For 40 days, the sun rose over the valley of Elah to a sound that made veteran soldiers tremble. It wasn't the sound of an army. It was the sound of one man. Imagine a shadow, so long it reaches your camp before the man does. 10 feet of bronze and bone. His voice doesn't just travel, it vibrates in your chest. The Bible calls him a champion, but to the Israelites shivering in their tents, he was something else. He was a freak of nature, a monster. But what if the giant of the Bible wasn't an invincible monster? What if science tells us he was actually a man trapped in a body that was failing him? Today, we're deconstructing the fight of the millennium. And by the end of this video, you'll see why David's victory was actually a tactical masterpiece against a man who was already dying. Goliath didn't just eat his vegetables. Medical historians believe he suffered from a condition called acromegaly. It's triggered by a benign tumor on the pituitary gland that causes the body to pump out growth hormones nonstop. It gives you the height of a god, but it comes with a curse. As the tumor grows, it presses against the optic nerves. The result? Tunnel vision, blurred sight, sometimes seeing double. When you look back at the text, the clues are everywhere. Why did Goliath have a shield bearer walking in front of him? A warrior of his size shouldn't need a guide, unless he literally couldn't see the terrain. Why did he say to David, "Do you come at me with sticks?" David was only carrying one staff. To a man with double vision, one stick looks like two. Goliath wasn't just tall. He was encased in a bronze shell weighing 125 pounds. In the ancient world, this was high-tech tank technology. He was a walking fortress. But here's the thing about tanks. They are slow. And if our medical theory is right, Goliath was also struggling with joint pain and exhaustion, common side effects of his condition. He wasn't built for a chase. He was built to stand in one spot and crush anything that got close enough for him to grab. Enter David. He's small, fast, and most importantly, he's a blur. Goliath is shouting, trying to bait this boy into a wrestling match where his size wins. But David stays in the blind spots. He's circling, moving into the hazy periphery of the giant's failing vision. Goliath is waiting for a sword fight. He's waiting for the clank of metal on metal. He never expects the whistling sound of a stone cutting through the air at 90 miles per hour. By the time Goliath's blurred vision registered the projectile, it was already embedded in his forehead, the one spot his massive helmet didn't cover. The monster didn't fall because of a miracle alone. He fell because his greatest strength, his size, was also his greatest biological weakness. David didn't just kill a giant. He exploited a medical vulnerability that had been 40 years in the making. Giant of Gath wasn't an invincible demon. He was a man, a very large, very sick, and very slow man who brought a shield to a gunfight. So, does the medical reality of Goliath take away from the miracle? Actually, it might make it even more profound. We often think a miracle has to break the laws of physics, but in this story, the miracle is in the timing. It's the fact that David, a boy with no military training, had the divine intuition to see what a whole army of seasoned soldiers missed. He didn't just see a giant, he saw a man with a weakness. The science of acromegaly doesn't discredit the Bible. It validates the gritty, historical details found in the text. Clues like the shield bearer and the two sticks that have puzzled readers for millennia. It shows us a God who doesn't always use magic to win battles, but instead uses the natural world, human biology, and a shepherd's precision to topple the untouchable. David wasn't just lucky with his shot. He had the courage to step onto a battlefield where everyone else saw a monster, and he saw an opportunity. He knew that with the right perspective, a giant isn't an obstacle. He's just a bigger target. Whether you see this as a triumph of biology or a triumph of belief, one thing is certain. David changed the world because he refused to play by the giant's rules. He brought a sling to a sword fight, and in doing so, he proved that no matter how big the shadow is, there's always a way to find the light. If you want to see more stories where ancient history and modern science collide, make sure to hit that subscribe button. And I want to hear from you in the comments. Does knowing the science behind the fight make the story more or less powerful for you? Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.